So the first thing that I would like to invite us all to do is, as it says, breathe. I invite you to fill your stomach full of air and feel it coming up through your shoulders, and place your feet on the ground. Notice, wiggle your toes and your feet, and feel the presence of your feet, and allow your sense as you're breathing out to allow yourself to drop into your seat, and feel that seat gently round about your body. Now I'm just, is it, oh, you didn't hear that, did you? You did. So, and the reason that I ask you to do that is kind of the Monty Python line, is that what I'm about to discuss may bring some discomfort into some of your already perceptions, and also how it has potentially to bring some disbelief. And so I ask you not to judge me in what I'm wearing, or really even what I'm saying, but what the information is saying. So I believe, and everything that I'm reading is saying, that we have everything we need right here, right now, to have a peaceful, inclusive, participative world. And there is no reason for actually a lot of the things that we're being told in mainstream media that they believe, that they say to us that is happening. And so what does that mean? Well, for me as a community development worker, I believe that we are all community development. Have I gone too far? Yeah. And so, and when I say that, it's a really good place to start, because it comes from the fact that it's a long-term value-based process to address imbalances. And as we are all students here at the university, you know yourself that we are all invited to be part of societies and clubs, and that is community development. So kind of what's been coming up in my question, not so much that I even added into the presentation, but is coming up clearer to me, is why is it when we leave university that we don't have that same curiosity of how we engage with community? So as a community development worker, I am very lucky that Scotland has over 100 years of community development work and community education. And that means that we have focused on bringing clarity into our values, ethics and principles of how we are doing our professionalisation. And so this is the International Association for Community Development, and so they bring across the entire world. And as you can see, it includes academic discipline. But it's about the fact that we are looking at the education and empowerment. And what does that mean? So my question that I'm asking in my dissertation is, how in community development do we work with power with in a kind way? And I think that this is one of the most important questions that are being asked. So as I said, we already have our community development principles. And in Scotland, we're very lucky that we have created, we've combined and created the community learning and development principles and ethics. So we already have quite an established place in this country. But the most important part for me to be looking at is about power, because that is what is coming up in my research. It's about power. And how does that affect you? What does that mean to you? And I'm sure when you're looking at the idea of power over, because it was also made clear to me that some people aren't aware of what power with is, but I think we all know what power over is. Whether it be when you're 5 and you wanted to go outside without your shoes on and you get told, no, you have to put your shoes on. Or when you were in your teens and you wanted to go off to school and you were heading out and your parent said, no, you have to take a jacket, even though that bag was already really, really heavy and you could do without that extra weight. So, moving on, the other part that I'm interested in is about kindness. And this is another part at university we're very aware of: kindness, health and well-being. And as students, we are all being encouraged to have more understanding and a discipline in this place. Hence why I wore this jumper, because I've chosen to be part of the peer wellness, peer well-being support which is a key service that every school has people that can offer support, and it's just a listening ear service as well, to allow you to just be able to vent things that you're thinking about. But in community work, in community development, this is a key part of why people get involved. They want to change things. They want to see something different in the world because they've been affected by what that is. And I see people in these presentations that obviously are coming from that same understanding, that same passion. So here's the uncomfortableness. Here's the thing that is, I think, for all of us, part of where we have to take responsibility. Because this is about a paradigm shift. This is about a real shift. A shift in our minds, a shift in our physicality, a shift in our happiness. And Ledwith speaks about what that might mean. Because we're talking about power again. Power that affects us all in so many different ways. But it's about the fact of the realities within this system of competing oppressions. And this paradigm shift is about moving from a deficit model into a model of where there is abundance. About understanding that there is abundance, there is enough for everyone. And that the more we focus on lack, the more we are pushed into fear. And the more we become even more precious about the little that we have. And so Fromm speaks about from having to being. And moving from all this commodification, about moving away from all these things that we are being manipulated in to believe that it can fill that empty space, that unhappiness, that other thing that might be, oh gosh, I'm really on time, thanks. So I'm going to do a little bit more community development with you, and I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to invite you to participate in another experiment with me. So I'm going to bring up a sentence, and what I'm inviting you to do is to notice in this moment how you're feeling inside of yourself. Breathe again, and as you say this into yourself, just notice what happens. Oh yes, and consider placing your hand over your heart. It can make a difference to what I'm actually talking about. So if you can say inside of yourself, and I'm sure you all are very capable of reading, but I'm going to say out loud anyway. I would like to do this, but I'm finding it a challenge. And breathe. And now this sentence. I would like to do this, and I am finding it a challenge. And it's not about what is or what isn't, but just notice. Does that change of language offer opportunity, offer openness, create something that maybe you weren't aware of that it was actually happening in your body, in your mind, sorry, because this is about the language that we speak in our minds. This is about our self-talk. So, getting straight back to the dissertation, I am wanting to speak about just 3 key things just now. Hegemony. Hegemony, I believe, is the key point of actually everything that we're having challenges with. Hegemony is part of where the paradigm shift needs to happen from. And this is about understanding that much of what we are led to believe is normal, is acceptable, is actually a conditioning. And that is actually being brought from somewhere else that has nothing to do with whether or not it works for the most of us. It's working for a small percentage. The other part is about governmentality. Governmentality was raised where we are all affected by this. We all running to the dance of funders, of people that produce the money, instead of actually us making the mandate of how we would like our humanity, how we would like to be doing what we're passionate about without having to follow that dictated position. And the last word I bring alive is occult, because this has a meaning, this is a benefit in what I'm saying, because the occult is hidden knowledge. But also notice how that feels inside of you as well, because that word has also been overly used and put in different ways. So quickly, I'm going to go through this rather quickly because I have overspoken, is that this is my dissertation, and so my name is Kim Scott, and I'm a fourth year community development student. The main part that I want to bring in is that I'm wanting to look at how the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, how it's not about what are our rights, even though we need to look at that, but it's about where is our responsibility. How can we take responsibility for what are our rights? And I just want to show gratitude and appreciation for the team that have also helped put this together and the other speakers, but most importantly to just say that the only way to achieve the impossible is to believe it is possible. Thank you.